Broads Media.
I'm annoyed like everybody else. It truly sucks that this is the baseball we are witnessing currently. Let me tell you something that doesn't suck. And that's my friend Chris Gates and Chris Gates Fitness. He just started his online fitness training camp, and you do not want to miss out. Chris is an online fitness coach, and he's a massive football fan. He spent his summers going to Eagles training camp as a kid and going to games at the vet. He's created a fitness community that is designed specifically for football fans just like you and me. If you're ready to elevate your health and fitness goals and do it with a group of like-minded people looking to support and encourage each other, you have to check out his program. There's seriously so much packed into his training camp. I joined and was blown away by everything you get as a member. There's customized monthly workout programs that will help you build muscle, burn fat, and feel more athletic. You get access to live Q&As with Chris. There's exclusive community support, and there will be help to hold you accountable so you can work towards your goals. Training camp members also compete in fitness challenges each month, as well as sports challenges like weekly football pick'ems in the fall, where Chris gives out free prizes like home gym equipment, supplements, free one-on-one coaching calls, and more. Listen up. If you join this week and use promo code BROADS, you will get 80% off your first month. That's just $10. So don't miss out. Visit chrisgatesfitness.com/training camp. You can click the link in the description and start your journey today. Thank you all so much and enjoy the show. What are we doing? It's a serious question. I hope somebody out there has the answers. But what the hell are we doing? I'm done playing games. Get your head out of your ass. Marte, 34 pitches in the eighth. You make me sick. Rojas, how about you catch the ball in the seventh so there's not a leadoff double? So Carlos Santana can smack an RBI double for added insurance. Yo, Ranger, dude, I don't know what's going on, but I'll tell you for free that what we're getting isn't good enough. It's not sharp enough. The third inning, you barely escape, but fine. Sometimes that happens. You put yourself in a pickle, but do you have the stones to work out of it? And he did. Phillies had a 2-1 lead after the third. Fine. The fourth, he was electric. The fifth, though, it got bad again. A walk, a single, falling behind 3-0 in the count. Then leaves a sinker over the heart of the plate. That gets hit pretty good. Now you're down 3-2. And the list goes on and on. You know, thank the Lord that Kerkering got out of that bases loaded situation. Because if not, woof. 7-2. Try 70-2. Is what it could have been. You have to dig deep. Things are starting to spiral out of control. And while we understand the journey that happens over the long haul, and there will be brutal stretches, the way that you watch this team crumble to Oakland and then following the break look that messy against Pittsburgh, starting off the second half with a blown save and a blown 3-0 lead, a blown 7-4 lead. Jose Alvarado just evaporating over his last handful of appearances. Somebody better do something to wake you up. And if it's not Bryce with a missile to right field and then almost having a second, I don't know what else he can do from the Bryce Harper standpoint. Seriously, I thought he had two. Then there was the double play, and I started to bite my fist because I was getting angry. Ay, ay, ay. You put yourself in a really tough spot because now Zach Wheeler, who is looked at as your ace to stop the bleeding, is now taking the mound with the back issues, with all the pressure in the world to throw a serious gem. Not that it's impossible. It just sucks that due to the circumstances surrounding him right now, not being fully healthy and dealing with that back, that we need to rely on him as heavily as we do. Shame on this team for putting him in that position. I mean, Tyler Phillips could handle it, so I'm sure Zach Wheeler deep down has what it takes. But it's not something I prefer. All that added talk. Yo, Zach, this team is really starting to go south. Yo, Zach, we're starting to urinate all over ourselves. Yo, Zach, please be the one. Please have the answers. Please figure this out for us and go throw 8 scoreless and then pray your offense can give you 2 runs, and then whoever gets the nod in the 9th doesn't give it away for free for some version of the biggest heartbreak we've had to that point of the season. That's what we need tomorrow. Am I supposed to put a ton of faith, though, in this lineup scoring an insane amount of runs? Because I remember looking at my ESPN app and I was just kind of glancing around some of the other scores around Major League Baseball. I had a big smile on my face knowing the Atlanta Braves lost to the Cincinnati Reds. That's always something that's outstanding when you take a look at the scoreboard for the day. And then the Phillies had about 4 hits at the time, and I'm like, that's lovely. Until I saw 4, and then it was staying at 4, and I'm thinking, what are we doing here? Where's 5? Right? And let's figure it out. Where's 5? Why isn't it at 5 yet? Why isn't it at 6 yet? What? Why is there still 4? Okay. Getting angry. Where's the mental makeup to nip this in the bud? Because it's taking a little too long for my liking. And by the way, I can't just pretend like this Ranger story isn't massive. We have a Ranger Suarez issue currently. If it's due to injury and him not being healthy, then there's not much he can do. He's not healthy. Part of that, though, is just wear and tear. And if he ever is going to become that sensational piece that we discuss as a third starter behind Wheeler and Nola, you have to learn how to go deep into seasons. And for all of you that mock Nola and pretend that he's not serious and think that he's some stiff, go look at his consistency on how long he's able to deal year in and year out. And now look at some of the problems we are now realizing with the ones that don't have that resume. It's hard to do it. And Ranger right now seems to be having a ton of problems when we reach a certain point. He's not a 200 innings guy. He has to find a way to become one. He has to. Or else it's somewhat a waste, that talent, if his role is going to be top end of a starting rotation. But we had question marks about Spencer Turnbull. We have question marks about Sanchez. We have question marks about Ranger. That worries me. Because part of the reason why this team was so good is because of them. And Ranger is nowhere even close to as precise as we need him to be. Unlucky or not. Things didn't go his way or not. Did you watch his outing? If you walked away from that outing thinking, hey, Ranger wasn't that bad, I need you to wash your eyeballs. I want you to go into your bathroom. I want you to get your soap. I want you to put it in your hands. I want you to scrub your hands. And then I want you to scrub your eyeballs. And then go back to the tape and tell me that that satisfies you. The third inning, the fifth inning. Something ain't right. He's beat up. That's what I see. And I'm not sure what exactly can change that trajectory. A six-man rotation? Sit down with Zach Wheeler and see how he feels about a six-man rotation right now. Because all the info in the world tells you he despises when he's not going every 5 days. Maybe you could sell him the big picture. Maybe he's the outlier in your thought process. I don't know. But reality is, you have to look deep within and figure out what you're going to do. If you're Dave Dombrowski, if you're Rob Thompson, to manage the starting pitching down the back stretch. And oh, by the way, get some life with your offense too. Because it's not cutting it. And I remember taking Sean's phone call right after the Pittsburgh series, and I actually rebutted a point that he made that he wasn't really loving the offense in Pittsburgh. And I went back to that Friday game that Jose Alvarado blew, and the offense scored, 7 runs? And while that second game on Saturday was a little bit of a mess, what was that Sunday game again? I forget. I'm sorry. Oh, that was the one they managed to win. They just shut him out completely. I think the final was 6-0. Yeah, it was 6-0. So their offense was fine 2 of the 3 games. Well, I guess you're starting to see some ups and downs, some inconsistencies. It's all over the place. When will they show up to the ballpark on a day-to-day basis and it be nonstop ripping through at the pace that we saw when they seemed to play with urgency? If you remember, and trust me, I've referenced it a billion times, but after there was a lot of noise in this city about the disappointment of the start of the season, after hearing all the excuses from Rob and Dave on why maybe in years past things look dysfunctional. Ranger not being able to get here on time or dealing with some stuff and the World Baseball Classic and Bryce and this and that and the next thing and the next thing. Okay. Atlanta and Cincinnati series sucked, but they almost played with some extra pissed off attitude after that because we were questioning what was going on. And the reason I bring that up now is it time for them somehow to use that as motivation again? You hear us right now? We're throwing up our shoulders, shrugging, wondering, what in the world is this garbage? Who are they really? I want you to dive back into your feelings and what you remember after Cincinnati. Because whatever that was internally, you guys clearly took off on a rocket ship and started to destroy every opponent in your way. And I'm not convinced that this is all happening due to the schedule being tougher. I think I saw something along the lines of they had the 7th hardest schedule in baseball following the break. But this all started with an Oakland A's team who's pretty much going to be looking to sell all of their key pieces at the deadline. And while they are a hot version of the Pittsburgh Pirates, they're closer to 500 than not. So you're not running through this crazy gauntlet of straight unreal baseball teams nonstop. The previous 2 series prior to Minnesota should be 2 series wins. If not, one of them being a sweep in that Oakland series at home in CBP. What's the Pirates' schedule, by the way? Or their record? They are 50-49. That was at the time of the final game that they lost to the Phillies. And the Twins, 11 games over 500. I mean, what are we talking about here? I don't like bringing up the toughness in schedule because this Phillies team's supposed to be tough. The Phillies are the team, when other squads see them on their roster, they go, oh boy, this is going to be a tough one. Not the other way around. That's my perspective on it, at least. All right. Let's take some calls. Let's hear from you all on the Anytime Hotline.
Hey, bros, the game isn't over yet, but I want to shed some light on this because it's driving me crazy. The biggest reason why Suarez doesn't have a win since June is not because he is struggling. It's because the offense around him thinks too much of him. What I mean is, they have the morality of saying, oh, Ranger's on the mound today. He's got us. We don't need to work too hard. No. I'm sorry, but the opposing pitcher retires 12 straight men. That's going to drive your starting pitcher crazy, no matter if you have a lead or not. It's clearly not Rangers' fault. The offense needs to have a better morale around Ranger Suarez. They need to play better. Goodbye.
I'm going to respectfully disagree because you're allowing Ranger Suarez off the hook. I don't think for 1 second this team, especially with how Ranger has been pitching over the last few starts, is going up to the dish thinking, we're good. Rangers got us. What are they basing that off of? Because I've seen a bad Ranger. And I feel harsh criticizing Ranger to this level if there's something physically wrong. If he is seriously broken and having a ton of pain and he's going out there, whatever, giving us everything he has, and it's just not the normal Ranger Suarez, part of me goes, well, he's not healthy. The other part is, well, he's taking the ball and throwing, so I can only judge him for him being out there. If it's limiting him to the point where he can't pitch well enough, then he shouldn't be pitching at all. And knowing how much this organization values the player's health, rightfully so, sometimes they lean way too precautionary stuff than they should. But knowing that and having that in my back pocket, if he's taking the ball, then it's just coming down to he's not executing well enough. And to act as if that's on the hitters every day, that's not all right with me. Because then Ranger can go do whatever he wants. He can go throw 5 innings, 80 pitches, allow 3 earned runs in 5 innings, and I should be okay with that? Hell no! This guy was shoving all year long, flirting in sub-2 ERA, flirting in Cy Young caliber starts after Cy Young caliber starts after Cy Young caliber starts. The reason he's not performing well is all on Ranger Suarez. It's not him getting angry because he's watching the other pitcher get 12 consecutive batters out or anything like that. Another take that I hear, just using this as a jumping off point, and I remember taking calls on this for almost a week straight. Don't put too much emphasis on Ranger when he's not able to pitch with JT behind the plate, because JT will fix it all. How can Tyler Phillips, someone nobody even knew about, can pitch extremely well with Garrett Stubbs, yet the difference with Ranger Suarez is JT? It's foolish. That's not what it is. Christopher Sanchez threw a complete game shutty. If I remember correctly, Who was behind the plate for that game? Christopher Sanchez. Complete game shutout. I mean, for some reason, we will try and stretch the truth as much as humanly possible if we like them. If Taijuan Walker did the exact same thing Ranger did today, he'd be getting scorched by fans all night long. Trash. Get him out of here. What a bum. I hate him. And that would probably be a little too aggressive for an outing like this. Ranger wasn't a complete zero, but he was nowhere close to good enough for what we need Ranger to be. And you could see him falling apart again in that third and fifth inning, and that's a common trend. Look, pitchers are going to have innings where guys get on base, and you have to work out of jams. That's inevitable. The best of the best deal with that sometimes. But it's the way it looks. It's how it's happening. It's almost this common trend that keeps popping up. It's not right. There's something off. And that's a Ranger issue, not anybody in the lineup issue. Now, unfortunately, we can have two issues at once, your offense and your starter. And then guess what happens? You lose 7-2. That's what happens. You get beat up bad. Marte, I mean, pitches go into the backstop. Bases are loaded in the eighth. It's a joke. It's a joke. Let's go to Amadeo.
I hate making calls during the game, but right now it's the bottom of the eighth inning. Marte just allowed that leadoff double. The vibes right now are not good, and I can clearly just see it with the body language of the entire lineup right now. Bryce and Trey Turner with the bats are really the only guys doing anything right now consistently. You know, Bryce gets the 2-run shot, and after that there's only 2 hits from the entire team. You have 4 hits, and then you don't get a hit from the third inning on. That's why you don't win the ballgame. You don't have any chances with runners in scoring position. We could complain about Ranger all we want. It wasn't the worst Ranger start. It's probably the best start, you know, given the fact that he's been very brutal the past couple of outings. So it's baby steps, I guess. Still not the best version of Ranger, but he's not fully the reason why they lost today. You only scored 2 runs, and you had 4 hits total. No, only extra base hit was Bryce Harper. And all I need to see right now is the body language. I saw on the bat from Kyle Schwarber in the top of the 8th inning. He just looks completely defeated, walking back to the dugout. Body language is terrible. They're in a rut right now, and I know we were saying this a long time during the beginning of the season that, you know, for as hot as this team is and how great of this team is, they were going to hit a rut eventually, and sadly they're in this rut. And it doesn't make me any less frustrated about it.
No, and you shouldn't be. You shouldn't be any less frustrated. Now, I'm not saying you're giving Ranger any sort of free pass because, I think you're holding him accountable reasonably. I just think that he bothers me more than he bothered you today. But I got no issue if you're telling me your number one takeaway was you need more from your offense. Because, yeah, Bryce got the party started, but what happened after that? What happened after you got the party started? I'll tell you what, literally nothing. And yeah, I'm with you in regards to the feel of the look of this team. Right now, they looked confused. They looked dazed. They look awkward. The pain in their eyes is real. I could see them somewhat flustered whenever they're showing close face-ups or their face close up, in the dugout. And you're getting a good shot of the guys hanging over the dugout. And you're seeing just the blank stares. Yeah, well, you're getting embarrassed by Minnesota. Yeah, you got Marte out there throwing 34 pitches in an inning and looking so uncomfortable. To the point where the broadcast is trying to figure out if there's something wrong with where he wants to put his plant foot. I mean, really? What are you going to do, though? Rob Thompson giving us the cliche of we'll be all right. We're just going through it right now. And I believe it. I believe it. But similar to what Amadeo just stated, that doesn't mean as we're sitting in the filth that we will be okay. Imagine this. You're stuck in the desert, right? And you know someone's coming for you, and you know they will eventually be there. But while you're stuck in the desert, there's birds shitting on you. You're covered in filthy, gross, disgusting mud. You haven't showered in a week and a half. How did you get in this predicament? I have no clue. So, you know, one day you'll be all showered up clean. You'll have a nice Chipotle burrito, and you can shove it down your throat. But it doesn't mean those 48 hours while you wait for the guy to help you survive. It's easy. It's not easy. I'm not enjoying this. So give me some. What we need is that one game where you do what the Oakland A's did to you. Go beat Minnesota 18-0 tomorrow. Zach Wheeler throws 7 scoreless, and then from there we move on. Is that too much to ask for? Please. 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 What's next?
Bros, I'm calling after game 1 of the Twin Series. Let's face facts. This Phillies team is badly struggling on the road this year. They have, since May, I don't know what their record is on the road, but their total record on the road this year is 26-21. They're 37-16 at home. And, you know, they just went out. It's just another performance that was lifeless by the offense today. Too many guys are just in slumps right now. And it happens, like that stuff happens during the middle of the season, but, you know, it just sucks when you had such a great start to the year. You don't want to ever show signs of regression because, you know, we want this team to make us feel good about them going into a postseason series. Ranger Suarez, you know, not great today. I thought for how bad he's been struggling, it was better for him. But, man, just too many guys just struggling at the plate today. And it's just discouraging when they can't even keep games competitive when they go to the low leverage relievers. You can tell how badly this team just needs Dave Dombrowski to just make a big trade, get the team jolted again. I think we can break out of it, but you gotta be better on the road, man. I mean, like, if they lose this series, this is going to be what, their 8th series loss on the road out of 9 series? I mean, it's just bad, man.
I'm not sure exactly what the math is, to be honest with you. I'll just take your word for some of it. But as you were talking, I did want to look through the league and what some of the best teams in baseball have record-wise on the road. And there are a few that stand out way more than the Phillies. Baltimore on the road has a damn good record, but they don't have nearly as well of a record at home. And with the Yankees, they do well away from Yankee Stadium. But what you're angry about the Phillies having is essentially what the Yankees have at home. So what the Phillies are doing on the road is the Yankees' home record. So I don't know. I mean, isn't there a major payoff for having that success when the bank goes wild? And none of this is solid. I'm not proud about some of their road series and some of their road losses by any means, but I'm just trying to put it in perspective. Outside of the AL East, there is really nothing that impressive with away records. The Dodgers are 28-22 away from Dodger Stadium. The Padres are 26-22 away from their home ballpark. Milwaukee's in first place in the Central. They are 28-26 away from Milwaukee. The Braves are under 500 away from Truist Park. They're 24-25. So I know the feeling of it is devastating and not really fun whatsoever, but it's truly not that bad as it feels. And trust me, I'm even a little surprised looking at the numbers, and maybe I'm not giving it enough time to marinate to let it tell a bigger story as I'm just looking at certain teams' records away from home. But, I mean, outside of the AL East, there really is. Like, for example, the Boston Red Sox, who are third in the AL East with a record that's about 9 games over 500. They're 29-21 on the road. They're under 500 at home. So any team that seems to be blasting away when they're not in their home ballpark don't really have anything that overwhelming in front of their own fans. For whatever that's worth, I'm just the messenger. I'm just the messenger. All right, everybody, that's going to do it here. Thank you guys all so much for hanging out with me on this episode, and I will catch you all on the next one.